Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the remaining portion of Patyakalpana in this presentation, that is Patyakalpana 3. Here we are going to discuss a preparation known as Visyandana. Visheshena Syantana, that is known as Visyandana. The Nirukti is like that. It means to ooze out. Syandana means oozing. So this is a preparation or a food item, can be termed as a food item. It is prepared using raw wheat flour. What we are doing is we are taking grita and shira with equal quantity of wheat flour, and it is heated where it is neither too solid nor too liquid. So this will be having a halwa like consistency. So it is called as Visyandana because the grita ooze out even after the preparation is complete. So when it becomes solidified or somewhat become a semi-solid state, we can see the grida particles will be separating, and that is a feeling like it is oozing out. Okay. Then if we go through the guna of Visyandana, it is snigdha, as it is very much we are adding those brahmana things, brahmana dravyas like grita, kshira, so it will be kaphavardhaka, and generally it will be guru, and vatanashaka, balavardhaka, and it will be hridya. It will be very good to taste. So this is the reference from Kayadeva Nigandu for Visyandana. Ama Goduma Churnam Sarpi Kshira Samanvitam Na Ati Sandro Na Ati Ghano Visyanto Nama Namataha. This is the reference. So Ama Goduma Churna is mixing with Sarpi and Kshira, and we are heating it till it become Na Ati Sandra and Na Ati Ghana, and is the ghee particle will be oozing from that. Okay. Next Patyakalpana preparation is Prituka. Prituka means we will call in South India as aval, and poha. In North India we will term it as Prituka. You know the story of Kujela and Krishna, where Kujela went to meet his friend Krishna and giving him Prituka, that is aval. Any of the dhanya vishesha is soaked in enough quantity of water. If we are using paddy, we have to soak it. Then the soaked dhanya vishesha is taken out and roasted well over fine hot sand. Then the husk part of dhanya vishesha will be removed by beating. This soaked, roasted and dehusked dhanya vishesha is called as prituka or flattened rice. That is Ardra Pakkum Shuka Dhanyam. We are preparing Pratuka from Shuka Dhanya. Nistusham Pratuka Abhida. So we have to remove the husk. That is, we have to dehusk it. Then it is known as Pratuka. So roasting and dehusking. The process is we have to soak it first, then we have to roast it, and we have to dehusk the dhanya. Then we will get Pratuka. Next item is Saktu. Saktu means it is the churna of any roasted dhanya vishesha. It can be wheat, barley, ragi, rice, etc. And the properties of this Saktu varies depending on the dhanya vishesha. And there are some rules regarding the intake of Saktu. You might be studied it in Sutrasthana, Ashtanga Hridaya. Now I am not going to discuss those things. So what do you mean by Saktu? It is the churna of any roasted dhanya vishesha, and the properties depend on the type of dhanya we are using for roasting and powdering. Next thing is Rasala. Rasala, it is popularly known as famous as Srikhanda, and it can be compared to the lassi that we are usually consuming. That is Majjiga Shigarinyukta Rasala Marjiga Budehi. These are the synonyms of Rasala. Majjiga, Shigarini, Rasala, Marjiga, all those things are synonyms. So what we need is here, in order to prepare Rasala, we require curd. So curd is the base for preparing rasala, and we have to churn this curd with by adding sugar, chili, ghee, and honey. And after churning well, at last we have to add a little quantity of karpura in order to get a good aroma. If we go through the properties of rasala, rasala is Rujikaraka, Snigdha, Pushtikaraka, Shukrajanaga, Balavardhaga, Kafavardhaga, Pittashamaga, and Guru. So it will be Vata Shamaga. Since it is Kapha Vardhaga, it will be Vata Shamaga. And rasala is mentioned as Agra Dravya for curing Pradishyaya. So there the vata is vitiating, and it is moving and locating in the jatra urdhva, and it will be liquefying this kapha. So there in the initial stage we have to take vata shamaga things. So the rasala is acting. That is the way rasala is curing pratishyaya, nava pratishyaya. Pratishyaya means running nose like symptoms. So there are various references for preparing the rasala. The quantities are varying according to the references. So this is one of the reference, that is Gajana Maditam Pada Sharkaram Dadi Samyutam. So we have to, if we are taking 1 part dadi, we have to take 1/4 part sharkara, sugar, and we have to add adequate quantity of shundi, jeeraga, sindutehi, saindava lavana, rasala, marjigam, viduhu. Then properties are rasala, brahmani, balya, snigdha, vrishya, charojani. So it will be very good to taste. Then comes supa. Supa, here the basis, here we are using shimbi dhanya. So first of all we have to take shimbi dhanya, mudga, masha, all those come under the shimbi group. So we have to take mudga. If we are using, going to prepare mudga supa, we have to take what? Mudga, that is green gram. So we have to subject it to bharjana, we have to roast it. Then we have to just dehusk it by pounding. Then it is boiled with enough quantity of water. After dehusking, the shimbi dhanya is boiled with enough quantity of water. When the dhanya is cooked well, it is crushed and mixed well, and then again by adding required quantity of salt, oil or ghee or other spicy ingredients, we are again cooking this. Then we will get supa. So this is similar to the rasa preparation that which is famous in South India, where different types of rasa preparations are there. So in some areas we are adding this dal and cooking it, and that liquid is using for preparing this rasam, tomato rasam, different types of rasam is there. So properties of supa, it is laghu, ruksha, vishtampi, and mitigates kapha pitta dosha. Shimbijer nistushehi ishad brishthehi supascha supagaha. So similar to soup preparation, soup like that we are preparing this supa. Then comes raga shadava. This raga shadava is considered as a single preparation by some authors, and Dalhanacharya differentiated it into two, that is as raga and shadava. And this is a very frequently asked question in your university exam for 3 marks. Differentiate between raga and shadava, like that gada and kambalika. This is like that a question usually asked. So according to Kayadeva Nigandu, raga shadava is prepared by mixing kapitta phala, jaggery, unripe mango, that is sahakara phalam navam, sahakara phala, unripe mango, oil and shundi. And Sushruta said that it is prepared using dadima phala, mridviga, etc. And I told you that is Dalhana differentiated it. So raga he explains like this: Sita rujaka sindotehi sa vrikshamla parushagehi jambu phala rasayar yukto rago rajigya kradaha. So raga, it is a kind of fruit juice. So we are preparing this with vrikshamla, juices of vrikshamla, parushaga and jambu, by adding sugar, salt and required quantity of mustard. Rajika means mustard. So this is the preparation. What do you mean by raga? This you have to answer. That is, it is a juice preparation which is prepared out of vrikshamla, parushaga and jambu phalarasa by adding sugar and salt, and it has to be sorted with mustard. Then comes shadava. Shadava is prepared by using sweet or citrus fruit juices added with a little quantity of salt. Examples are kapita shadava, draksha shadava, etc. Here the taste is predominantly amla madura. Spashto amla maduraha. Aspashtaha kashaya lavana ushnaha. And atiktaha. Tikta will be completely absent. And kashaya lavana ushna will be, we can't feel that taste, but predominant taste of shadava will be amla and madura. That is why we are using sweet or citrus fruits. And kola kapitadi ubabrimhitaha. So kola phala and kapita we are using for preparing shadava. Then this is the combined definition for raga shadava that we have discussed from Kayyadeva and according to Sushruta. That is kapittam tu gudopedam sahakara phalam navam. That is unripe mango. Taila nagara yuktam cha vitnyo raga shadava. And sato dadima mridyuga yukta syad raga shadava. That is according to Sushruta. So this is the two preparations, raga and shadava, and how Dalhana is differentiating this into raga and shadava you have to know. Then comes mamsarasa. We have discussed this mamsarasa under the Kvada Upakalpana. So here just we are explaining in brief. Mamsarasa, you know, just a rasa extracted from mamsa. So it is prepared by boiling chopped meat with a required quantity of water. The ratio of water may be twice, 4 times, 6 times or 8 parts depending on the meat we are using, and how much quantity of water it needs to cook it completely, that much water we have to add, and boiled over moderate fire until the meat is cooked. Then later, when the liquid part attains a desired consistency, we are stopping the boiling, and with this liquid part we are filtering it, and that is known as mamsarasa. There are two types of mamsarasa. I think you know that the differentiation, that is akrita and krita mamsarasa. If we are preparing mamsarasa without adding any of the spices, it is plain soup, meat soup, then it is akrita. And if we are sorting it with lavana, sneha, jeeraga, marija, those spicy materials we are adding, then it is krita. That is krita mamsarasa. So properties of mamsarasa are prenanaha sarva bhuthanam, hridyo mamsarasaha param. Mamsarasaha, this is spelling mistake there, mamsarasaha param, shushyatam vyadi muktanam krishanam kshenaretasam balavarnarthinam cheva rasam vidyad yadamrita. So we are prescribing this mamsarasa for the patient who is suffering from a chronic illness. Usually in Kerala, around 1950 or that period, there was a large incidence of this tuberculosis. So after treatment, this patient will be much emaciated. So in order to get strength, regain his strength and become strong, and to regain the muscle strength, etc., usually the Vaidyas will prescribe this mamsarasa for regular intake. So there it is important. Mamsarasa is important in our practice, clinical practice. We have to prescribe it for emaciated patients, and after recovering from the illness, we can prescribe mamsarasa. Then comes Veshavaram. Veshavaram, it is also a meat preparation. That is, here required quantity of boneless meat is to be taken. It is steamed well and smashed well. Then it is taken in a clean vessel and added with a sufficient quantity of water. Then the vessel is placed over mild fire and cooked along with the required quantity of jaggery, ghee, pipali churna, maricha churna and other spices as required. This is similar to a cutlet preparation. We will be adding this meat by mincing it, and then we will be adding the spicy ingredients, and we will prepare different shapes depending on our choice. So this is somewhat similar to the cutlets preparation that we are usually familiar. And when this mixture is cooked well and this attains a thicker consistency, the fire is put off and the meat along with the soup is called a Veshavara. That is, the reference is Nirasti Pishidam Pishtam Swinnam Gudhagradanyudam Krishna Marija Samyuktam Veshavara iti smrita. Usually this preparation is having much importance in Prasudi Tantra, gynecological disorders. For example, in case of uterine prolapse or even rectocele, or when the bladder is descending out through the vaginal canal, in those cases we can use this Veshavara in order to support the pelvic floor musculature. There the pelvic floor will be weakened, so that these ligaments will be weakened and these organs will be protruding out. So in order to strengthen the pelvic floor, we can use this preparation. This is having good result. There we will cook this meat in bala sida retusa or sida cordifolia. There we will cook this meat and we will put this Veshavara inside a gauze piece and we will insert it into the vaginal canal, and a tail will be left in order to pull out after a certain time period. So generally the patient will be given this Veshavara, with this Veshavara will be inserted into the vaginal canal of the patient, and until the patient had a tendency or a urge to micturition. Up to that time period we will keep this Veshavara inside the birth canal. Okay, this practice will enhance the strength of the musculature. That is the result of this Veshavara administration. So this is the properties of Veshavara. Veshavaraha Guru Snigdho Bhalyo Vataruchabaha Pushtita Sarvadhatunam Visheshat Malanashana. Even though it is explained as a Patya Kalpana, it is described as an Ahara preparation. Veshavara is having that clinical utility in gynecological diseases for external administration also. Then comes the Takra Kalpana. You know, Takra is prepared from curd. Takra is buttermilk, you know. So curd is taken in a vessel and we are adding specified quantity of water. Then it is churned well for a prahara, that is 3 hours. Synonyms are Dandahatam, Kalashayam, Gorasa, Vilotita, etc. Dandahadam, we are churning it with a danda, and Kalashayam, we are storing it in a pot. Then Gorasa, it is a dairy preparation. Gorasa, that is the preparation from Kshira, as it is a Kshira Vigriti. Then Vilotita, we are churning that and preparing this Takra. This is the definition from Kayadeva Nigandu. Bhandasya madhye dhadi sannidhaya dadnastu yantrena shanair hatam yat toyam nishinchan praharam viniya toyena takram dashada kramena. According to Kayadeva, he described 10 types of takra. Bhanda means a pot. Then we are taking this dadi inside the pot and we are churning it with the help of a yantra. Usually gaja yantra will be using. Then this mixture of water and dadi is known as takra. Usually we will be adding water to prepare takra, and in some type of dadi, some type of takra, we are not at all adding water, just churning. We will come to that. We will explain those types later. So let's discuss the properties of takra. I think you might have studied in Sutrasthana Ashtanga Hridaya the properties of takra in Dravya Vijnaniya. That is takram lagu kashayamlam deepanam kafavatajit. Like that the shloka goes on. So kashaya amla madura is the taste, rasa of takra, and virya is ushna, madura vibhaga it is grahi, lagu, ruksha. And if you go through the karma, that is agni deepaka, triptikaraga, virya vardhaga, medha vardhaga, and vatanashaka. And it is very much having clinical utility in case of grahani chikitsa, adhisara chikitsa, etc., where this will help to do agni deepana. Takra is very much having clinical utility in the treatment of arshas also. Now let's discuss the types of takra according to Acharya Charaka. Charaka has described different types according to the content of butter retained in that takra. So three types are there: Ruksham, Ardhodridam, and Anudridam. Ruksha, Ardhodrida means Ardha Sneha Yukta, and Anudrida means there is Sneha Yukta. So in Ruksha type, all the butter particle will be removed after churning, and it will be indicated in Kapha dosha, and based on bala it will be having Adhama bala, inferior bala. Then Ardha Sneha Yukta with half part of butter is remaining, and it is usually indicated in Pitta dosha and it's having Madhyama bala. Then Anudrida, that is the whole butter is left in it. We are not at all removing the butter from that takra. So it is indicated in Vata dosha Visheshan, and its bala will be superior. It is having Uttama bala. So these are the types of takra according to Charaka: Ruksha, Ardhodrida, and Anudrida, or Ruksha, Ardha Sneha Yukta, and Purna Sneha Yukta. Now according to Bhava-prakasha explained 5 types of takra. They are Gholam tu Madhidam Takram Udashvit Chachika Apicha. Ghola, Madhita, Takra, Udashvit, and Chachika. These are the 5 types according to Bhava-prakasha. Now let's discuss those types. First variety, that is Ghola. It is classified according to the quantity of water added and the condition whether the butter is removed or retained. So first variety Ghola, here water is not added and we are just churning the curd, and butter is not removed, so butter is retained in it. Then the karma will be Vata Pittahara, and it will be similar to Rasala when mixed with sugar. So we can use this Ghola like that of Rasala by mixing it with sugar. Then comes Madhida. Madhida also water is not at all adding. Then here we are removing the butter. Butter portion is removing. So it is Kapha Pitta Shamanam. Then Takra or Katvara. Here 1/4 part of water is added and the butter is removed. And the utility is Kapha Vataharam. Then comes Utashvid. Here the quantity of water is increasing. Here we are adding half part of water, and here butter is not separated. So butter is retained in that. And it is Kafakrit. There is a spelling mistake. Kafakrit, Balya, and Amagna. Then Chachika. Chachika is the most diluted form. Here we are churning the curd and by adding sufficient quantity of water. Large quantity of water is adding. So and also butter is removed. This is similar to the sambhara that we are usually taking in summer season. So it is shita, trishnahara, laghu, vadapittahara. So these are the varieties of takra according to Bhava Pragasha. You have to go through the types, the quantity of water added, whether butter is retained or removed, and its karma. Karma we can be easily assumed by understanding the quantity of water and whether the butter is removed or not. So these are the types according to Bhava Pragasha. Now let's move on to the types of takra according to Kayyadeva Nigandu. I already told you, he explained 10 types of takra. That is Madidam, Udashut, Takram, Dandahada, Kalasheya, Karamadidam, Golam, Galita, Shvedamada, Shadavam, Idi, Katyade, Dashada. These are the 10 types. Now let's discuss the 10 types. Here, first one, Madhida. Here, no water is added and butter is separated. Then Udashvit, half part of water is added, and in case of Takra, 1/4 part of water. In Dandahada, 1.5 part of water is added, and Kalasheya, 2 part of water is added. So the quantity of water is increasing in the order half, and then 1/4. After that, 1.5 and 2. So takra, you should know that is only 1/4 part. Then comes Udashvit, half part. Then Dandahada, then Kalasheya. Then Kara Madida. From the Madida means churning and Kara means hand. So the curd is churned with the hand. That is known as Kara Madida. Then Ghola, like that of Bhava Pragasha, no water is added and the butter is retained. Then Galita means filtering, that is, you might have studied that in Gandhaga Shodhana, like that. Galitam, Shuddhim Richadi. Then filtering through a cloth. This is curd is churning and it is filtering through a cloth. That is known as Galita. Then Shvetamada, here equal quantity of water is added. If we are taking 1 part of curd, then we are adding 1 part of water. Then Shadava. In Shadava, we are adding fruit juices. Now let's go through the indications of takra. Sheetakale Agnimandyech Kafotteshu Ameshu cha. Kapharogas. In case of Kapharogas, we are using this takra. And in Sheetakala and in case of Agnimandya, I already told you this takra is very much enhancing our Agni Dibana. Then Margavarode Dushtecha Vayo Takram Prashasyade. If there is any Srotoroda and there is Vata Dushti, in all those conditions we can use takra and we can incorporate drugs by adding into takra, and it is a good medium for Agni Dibana. And if we go through the contraindications, Neva Takram Kshade Dadyat. Wherever there is any Pitta Visheshan, Rakta Pitta Visheshan, there takra should not be used. Neva Takram Kshade Dadyat. Na Ushnakale, na Durbale. Na Morcha, Brahma Daheshu, na Roge Rakta Paitige. All those disease conditions we can see these Pitta Visheshan. Ushnakala, this it is the there will be Pitta Visheshan. So in all those conditions takra is contraindicated. If we go through the takra prayoga vidhi, Vate amlam saindavopedam swadu pitte sa sharkaram pibe takram kafe chabi vyosha kshara samanyudam. So it is according to the general logic in order to specify the dosha. In Vadika disorders, we have to use amla takra by adding lavana, that is saindava lavana. And in pitta condition, we have to use it by adding sugar. And in case of kapha, the kshara, trigadu, etc. should be added, and we have to administer this. And there is a condition given, that is, in order to eliminate the kapha in koshta, we can use amatakram. but this Amatakra will vitiate the Kandagada kapha. So, in order to eliminate Kandagada kapha, if the disease condition is Kandagadam, like that Penasa, Shwasa, Kasa, like that, there we have to use Pakwa Takra. By boiling this Takra, we can use. So, this is a condition for administration of Takra. Then let's go through some kalpanas, that is Katwaram. It is explained as Dadnaha sasaragasya atra takram katwaram ishyade. That is, it is similar to Gola. The sasaraga, the butter is retained, it is not removed. That is known as Katwaram. And Dalhana has explained an Katwara which is not at all a Takra Kalpana. He said like that, that is Sauviramlam Ada Atyamlam Kanchikam Katwaram Viduhu. That is, it is either Sauviramla or Kanchika when become extremely sore, that is known as Katwara. And Katwara, it is sometimes used synonymously with the Takra. And you might be studying Ashta Katwara Taila in Urustamba and going through the moving to the Chikilsa Sthana, Charagam Chikilsa. There you will be coming familiar with the Ashta Katwara Taila. Then comes Kurchiga. Kurchiga is Vigradidam Kshiram Ghanattumapanam Kurchiga. It is these are inspissated milk or its products. Here milk is boiled to a diminished fluidity state. We are just boiling it by adding either dadi or takra. So milk is taken and we are boiling it, and by adding dadi, it is known as dadi kurchiga. If we are adding takra, it is known as boiling it with takra kurchiga. So this will be somewhat becoming coagulated. This milk will become coagulated, and this mixture, complete mixture, is known as what? Kurchiga. So we can prepare kurchiga by two ways, that is by either adding dadi or either adding takra. This should be boiled to a thicker consistency, that is known as kurchiga. Dadna saha payapaktam sa bhavet dadi kurchika. If you are boiling kshira with dadi, then it is known as dadi kurchika. Takrena pakvam yad kshiram sa bhavet takra kurchika. If you are adding kshira, if you are adding takra, that is buttermilk with kshira, then boiling, then it is known as takra kurchika. So many question papers, this question is frequently asked: what do you mean by kurchiga, and what are the types of kurchiga? That is dadi kurchiga and takra kurchiga. Then kilada and morada, that is we are preparing this kurchiga. Then kurchigi bodha kshirasya ghana bhagaha kiladaha. That is usually you might be familiar with the paneer that we are preparing at home. This is kilada is somewhat similar to paneer. So kurchigi bodha kshirasya ghana bhaga, the solid part. We are filtering this kurchiga through a cloth, and the solid part retained in the cloth is known as what? That is kilada. And the liquid that we are obtaining is known as, left behind, is known as morada. So that is the difference, kilada and morada. So it is the solid part obtained when kurchiga is filtered through a cloth, that is kilada at paneer, and it is guru vatahara, and it is pumsto nidra prada, that is it will induce sleep and it will increase the virility. And the liquid part left behind is known as morada. Nashta dugdha bhavam neeram moradam jajjado abravit. It is said in Bhava Prakasha like that. Then takra pindaga and kshira shagam. These are also a similar preparation to that of kilada. That is takra kurchikaya eva sruta dravo ghano bhagaha. Similar to Takilada, Takra Kurchika, we have to filter it through the Dravo. Then when what liquid portion is filtered, then the Ghana Bhaga remaining is known as Takra Pindaga. Pinda means a solid part. Then Abakkumeva yen nashtam kshira shagam hitat payaha. And if we are preparing kurchiga out of unboiled milk and the solid content we are collecting, that is known as kshira shaga. We are usually preparing kurchiga by boiling milk, and here we are preparing kshira shaga from kurchiga prepared from unboiled milk. Then these are all about the Takra Kalpana. So under the Takra Kalpana, we have studied the general properties of Takra, its indications we have studied, and we have studied the different types explained by different acharyas. So you have to go through the shlokas and you have to go through the types and study well. Now let's discuss Dhadi. Dhadi, we are very familiar with Dhadi, that is curd. It is obtained from milk. It is obtained from milk by lactic acid fermentation. We have studied under Sandhana Kalpana 2 types of fermentation, that is alcoholic fermentation and acetic acid fermentation. Yes, and here what is happening, what type of fermentation is happening, that is lactic acid fermentation. Milk contains lactose, it is the sugar content, that carbohydrate content present in sugar, and milk contains casein, it is the protein, and fat material is present. So this lactose in milk is converted to lactic acid by the action of a bacteria, that is Lactobacillus lactae bacteria, and this lactic acid will coagulate the milk protein casein. This casein will be present in the milk as calcium caseinogenic, and this casein will be coagulated, forming the curd. So this is the fermentation process occurring in the formation of curd or dhadi. So if we go through the properties of dhadi, usually it is amla vipaka, kashaya anurasa, ushnavirya and snigdha, and general properties are rojanam, deepanam, vrishyam, snehanam, bhalavardhanam, page amlam, ushnam, vataknam, mangalyam, brahmanam, dhadi. So dhadi is brahmana in nature, and it is rojana and deepana, and that having kashaya anurasa, the main taste will be different according to the stage of formation of curd. In the initial stage it will be having a slight madhura rasa along with amla rasa. Then it will be if we are keeping this for some more time, then the fermentation will be enhanced, and then soreness will be increasing in the dhadi. Then it will be becoming amla and atyamla. So like that the taste will change. So if we go through the types of dhadi, 3 types according to Sushruta: madhuram, amlam, atyamlam. That I already told you. That is depending on the formation and how much time period we are leaving that for fermentation. Then we will experience these 3 tastes, and these are the 3 types. Then 4 types according to Charaga, that is mandam, jatam, saram, and there is a difference, that is mandam, jadam, saram and mandam. You don't understand that as same. That is first one is mandam, and then jatam, saram and mandam. That is the clear liquid that we have studied in case of ahara kalpanas, that is mandam. And 5 types according to Bhava Prakasha, that is mandam, swadu, amla, and atyamla. Then 7 times again Sushruta is classifying it dhadi into 7 types, that is swadu, amla, atyamla, mandajada, shruda kshira bhava, saram, asaram. Then 8 types adding along with these 7 types, when we are adding dhadi mastu also, then we will get 8 types of dhadi. So these are the types of dadi explained in our classics. According to the taste, maduram, amlam, atyamlam. Then according to the formation and consistency, this is explained. And if we go through the properties of dadi explained in Bhapragasha, Bhapragasha explained how many types? 5 types of dadi. So the first one is mandhajada. It is actually the initial stage of dadi. That is, we have the fermentation is just started and it is not at all completed. That is, kshiram vikriyam apannam ganatvam na yadi tada tanmandagam. Or otherwise it can be said like this, that is, dadyavastam asamprapya dugdavastam adityaja. It has not at all attained the dadyavastha, but it has passed the kshiravastha. Antaravarti yat proktam mandam tacha tridoshalam. So it is an intermediate stage, mandajada. The actual transformation is not occurred. So it is avyakta rasa, kinchit ghana, and it will cause vidahi. Tridoshakrit, and it is srishta vinmotram. That is vidahi srishta vinmotram mandajadam tridoshakrit. Then if we go through the second variety, that is swadu. From the type name itself we can assume the rasa, that is it will be madhura rasa. And avyakta amla rasa, it is ushna virya and madhura vibhaga. So from that we can assume the dosha shamanatva, that is it will be vata shamana. And kaphagrit, it will cause abhishanda, it will increase medas, and rakta pitta prasadana. Then swadu amlam, then here it will be sandra, much more dense or thick. Then madhura rasa, kashaya anurasa, and ushnavirya, it is having the general properties of dadi, that is it will be dibana, rojana, etc. Then amlam, that is having amla rasa and ushnavirya. Like that, atyamlam also having amla rasa and ushnavirya. And amla variety will be dipana, pitta kapha rakta vriddhi. It will cause pitta kapha rakta vriddhi. At the same time, atyamla variety will cause rakta vada pitta krit. And this atyamla will cause danta roma harshanam, kanda dahakaram, and deepanam. You know, if we are tasting a sore thing, there will be some danta harsha and some goosebumps, that is roma harsha will be there. That is the karma of atyamla variety of dadi. So these are the properties of dadi described in Bhapragasha. And Bhapragasha described 5 types of dadi. You have to keep in mind these 5 types. Then there are some terms related to this dadi, that is saram or taram. It is also known as taram. In Sushruta Dalhana Vyakya, it is termed like that. And saram means the supernatant layer of curd rich in fat content. That is known as sara. Saro dadi upari sneha. So it is the supernatant layer of curd. It is Guru, Vrishya, Agnimantyakara, Shukra Vriddhikara, Vata Shamana, and Kapha Vriddhikara. Since it is having large quantity of fat, it will be acting like Vata Shamaka and Kapha Vriddhikara. Then Dhadimastu. Dhadimastu, it is the clear liquid layer of curd. It is known as Dhadimastu. Ado Dhadi Jala Mishram. You can see, if you are keeping a jar of curd, this liquid layer will be seen beneath this supernatant thick curd layer. So it will be somewhat transparent, clear liquid. That is, it is Laghu Amla Kashaya Rasa, and the properties is similar to Takra. The properties of Dhadimastu is similar to Takra, and it is Rodho Shodhanam and Kaphavata Shamanam. Now, if we go through the Prayoga Vidhi of Takra, in which Ritu the Takra is indicated and in which Ritu the Takra is contraindicated, you should know. It is contraindicated in Ushna Ritu, that is Sharat, Grishma and Vasanta, and it can be used in Hemanta, Shishira and Varsha. There is a mistake, that is it can be used in Hemanta, Shishira and Varsha, but not regularly. In our classics, Dadi is not set to use regularly. So we can there are some rules and regulations for administering this dadi. Let's go through that. That is, it is advised to take dadi along with the mudga supa, kshaudra, grita, sitopala, amalaka, etc. It is not advised to take this dadi as such. And mandajada is contraindicated. That is the initial stage of dadi, that is in the initial stage of fermentation, mandajada will be forming, and it will be having avyakta rasa, and it will be vidahi and tridoshakrit. So it is contraindicated. Mandajada is contraindicated, and it should not be taken at night. न अमुद्गसूबं न अक्षौद्रं तन्नाघृतसितोपलं न च अनामलकं नापि नित्यं नो मन्दम् अन्यदा ज्वर असृक् पित्त विसर्प कुष्ठ पाण्डु भ्रमप्रदम्. If you are using this not according to the rule, then it will result in these diseases, that is jvara, asrit, pitta, visarpa, kushta, pandu, brahmapradam. All those diseases we can see that pitta, aggravation of pitta will be there. So it is very important to administer or to take the why these conditions should be keep in mind. You should be very much concerned about these rules. Then you can use this study without any complications. So in many of the disease conditions we are contraindicating the usage of dadi. Wherever there is any Srodo, Roda, or a Srodo Abhishanda is there, we should avoid dadi in our daily diet. So these are the Patya Kalpanas explained in our textbook. So I think I have almost completed all those syllabus portions, and if you have any doubts regarding this topic, you can ask in the comment section, and or otherwise in the Google Classroom. So just go through the textbook and prepare your own notes, and go through the previous question papers, how this topic is asked in the exam. You have to know, then you have to give weightage and study how thereby you can score good marks in your university exam. So thank you for your patient listening. Thank you very much.